Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I was wanting to talk about something more personal to me, and that is my recent obsession with Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is a game that I got into recently, that I've kind of become obsessed with. What got me back into the game, because I had some minimal experience in the beginning. What really got me back into the game though was when Fortnite released their Mortal Kombat stuff, because I was into Fortnite with my girlfriend. Me and her have been playing a lot. So seeing that get introduced into the game kind of sparked that idea in my head to revisit Mortal Kombat and the game that got me hooked, which is Mortal Kombat X. Mortal Kombat X specifically, I'll talk about later in the video, because to me it is personally what got me into Mortal Kombat as a whole, and it is also what I think is a very good game in that series. But something I've also done is I've been experimenting with Mortal Kombat 1 recently. I do have Mortal Kombat 11 and Mortal Kombat X. Those are the only 3 games I've played. I've played nothing before. I'm speaking specifically on the general recent games. Mortal Kombat X, though, specifically, is now a 10-year-old game, and it's interesting looking at it and seeing how well it holds up, because something that I feel in regards to Mortal Kombat X compared to 11 and 1 is that, first of all, I do have that sense of nostalgia for the game, but also I feel like it is something that feels smoother, because obviously a lot of what Mortal Kombat is the fighting. It's the whole point of the game. And the fighting in X feels so much smoother than it does in 1 or 11. Because in those 2 games, to me specifically, and take this with a grain of salt, because I am not somebody who is perfectly in tune with how to play those games. I'm not very good. But Mortal Kombat X feels smoother, and Mortal Kombat 11 and 1 feel clunkier. It feels slower. It almost feels like things don't, the transitions from moves to next moves aren't as smooth as they feel in X. And I feel like I see that most with, for example, in MK1, you have the with any Mortal Kombat game, you have Scorpion. He has his hook, and in 10, you do have the hook, and you pull the opponent closer to you, and then it's a sort of free game after that. You can combo into that afterwards. But in Mortal Kombat 11, and I think 1, you hook and then you do a specific move after, and it feels so much slower and it feels so much clunkier to me. I don't know if maybe it's just my inexperience, but that does feel like something that does kind of turn me away from those newer games. But at the same time, I'm not saying that MK1 and MK11 are bad, by any means, because they are really cool games, and especially with the guest characters. I will say MKX, the guest characters don't feel as strong to me. Don't get me wrong, I love the horror. I specifically love Alien. Alien's cool. I've always thought Alien's really cool. But the horror characters like Jason, Predator, Leatherface, and Alien, I just don't think they're as interesting as the media characters from, for example, 1 with Ghostface is really cool. That's a cool horror character. Jason and everything, they're all cool, but none of them have voice lines. There's no interaction, like how there is in MK1. Omni-Man, Homelander, I think they're all cool. I think they're much cooler. But something I think that Mortal Kombat X does right is the fact that everything does feel smoother. Um, One of my problems I had going into MK1 when I got it is that I was hesitant to try characters that I liked, because, like, especially with, I want to say, Kung Lao. Kung Lao is a character that I really like. I really loved his buzzsaw variation in Mortal Kombat X, and with that, you have a problem where, or I had a problem, where I was nervous to try him in another game because I didn't feel like it was, like, I was nervous he wouldn't live up to my expectations from Mortal Kombat X. Something I do really appreciate about Mortal Kombat X is actually the crypt. I think the crypt is a very interesting concept. I do feel like it is something that is a cool way to unlock things. I haven't tried the I think there's a equivalent to the crypt in 11. I don't know about 1, but I haven't tried it. But I will say MKX, I do feel like it's an interesting kind of like puzzle-esque environment to go through, and I feel like it is rewarding to get those things. But at the same time, there is the struggle that the coins are a struggle to come by, especially since I've never played online Mortal Kombat. I haven't, because I'm just not good. I play against bots because I find it fun. I haven't even finished the story for X, and I haven't even started it for 11 or 1. I might in the future, and that's something I'm interested in doing, but it is something that I personally have not done. I think the crypt is cool. I think MKX has smoother fighting. I think that overall, MKX is a very good place to start, because you do have those cool guest characters. You do have that smooth fighting. You do have the visuals. The visuals do hold up considering, 10 years ago? And I think overall, to say that X is a significant downgrade from the newer games, I feel is wrong. Because there is so much that X sort of started that 11 and 1 picked up on. Like, I'm not saying story-wise, it's just like gameplay and the follow-up of like coming after X, because X was really good. You have to follow up with X and make your next game better, which I feel like maybe they did do with 11. I'm not entirely sure because I've had more experience with 1. But so far, with my experience with X, there are a lot of cool characters. I love the variations. The variations is something that I think is very interesting, and I do feel like is lost in 11 with the selecting of moves, I think is what you can do, and that's weird to me. Or I think there's something similar to variations in that game, but I like having the set variations how you have it in X, because it's like you have this variation that you can pick from, and that variation has specific moves for that. And I think it's cool to prioritize one specific variation, but if at any point you want to switch up, you can. You can switch up and have somebody else. Like, as I said, Kung Lao, I love his buzzsaw variation. I will say one of the characters I do like is Takeda. He has the Lasher variation. Really cool. I will say, though, with certain characters, they don't always live up to the hype. Because MK1, I do believe Takeda was a DLC character. And in that game, he's nowhere near as flashy as he was in X. And that's something I did like about him in X. I loved how flashy, and I loved how, in a sense, kind of confident he was. He had, like, that confidence that feels backed up. I don't know how to explain it. But it does feel cool in X. And then in 1, he didn't feel as flashy to me. Because his moves, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not using them right. It's entirely possible. But I don't know. So my main issue with newer Mortal Kombat, though, as I've said before, is just how clunky it feels. And I feel like it's hard to move past that, and something I do find myself doing is playing Mortal Kombat X over 1 and 11. 1 is cool, just for the pure aspect of it being newest. It looks great. It's a great looking game. It has really cool guest characters. It has really cool DLC characters on its own. But MKX just has that, like, fluid nature to how it feels. and I don't know how to explain it, but that game is my favorite Mortal Kombat. And it's just so frustrating, I guess, in a way, that I go into these new games and I don't have that interest like how I did for X. Because X is what got me into wanting to play 11, or at least try 11, and then buy 1. So for that to happen, it's just frustrating. Maybe the story is something I need to do to kind of get the full experience. Maybe I do need to try online play. But at the same time, I'm just not good enough to try it right now. I'm just really not. But overall, it is just something that does frustrate me because MKX is something that I started with a long time ago. Not too long ago. I was pretty young when it came out. But when I got into it, though, again, part of the struggle I have with it is I do have that sense of nostalgia because I played that game when I was a kid. I played that with my brother. I played as, I think, Melina, and I slapped him over and over again. He got mad. But I have that experience, and then beyond that, I go in and I come back to it, and it just feels so much better. Because, like, despite having the time apart, I come back, and it's still the same game. But I'm just so much better now. Like, I'm not saying I'm good by any means, but I'm so much better than I was. I'm not that kid pressing the same button over and over again. I've picked up on some, like, combinations of moves, and something that I love about that game is how fluid it feels. It feels so smooth. The transitions between moves feel so smooth. I loved the, like, use of the environment. I feel like that's a really interesting part that I feel like is lost in 1 because of the cameos. I think that was in 11, though. 11 still did have the, like, interactable environments. MK1 might have that too, I just don't really remember. I think it is reliant on cameos, though. I will say MKX has a lot of cool characters that were introduced for that game. Aaron Black, super cool. Devora, pretty cool. Who else was introduced in that game? I know Takeda was super cool. I loved him. I think that whole squad was. Kung Jin, I didn't really get it. I wasn't a fan of, because why would you play an archer in a Mortal Kombat game? I'm sorry if you're a fan of him. But Jackie Briggs, I'd rather play Jax, but whatever. But there is one creation that is a DLC character that I think is a really cool idea. I don't know if it's even an MKX edition, but I think it is. And it's Triborg. Triborg is a very cool idea because Triborg is the combination of the 3 robots that are Smoke, Sector, and Cyrax. And I just think that's really cool. It's a really cool way to incorporate 3 characters in one DLC character because it has moves that resemble them. And first of all, that fatality where it is the triple team fatality or something, it's a very cool fatality. But it's just a very cool character on its own. Obviously, you have cool characters like that. You have Triborg, and then you have the other end with Bo Raicho. I'm not a big fan of him. He's just a headache of a character to me. But there is going to be times where things don't always land for everybody. Maybe there's a lot of people who do like those characters. Maybe there's a lot of people who didn't even like Triborg or something. I think it's very fair. I think it's a very cool thing. I will say that MKX is what got me into the game, and I do think it is a very strong game even now after 11 and 1 have come out. So I guess I just wanted to comment on that. And for the most part, there's not much more to say because a lot of it is subjective in the sense that it is my favorite game. But that doesn't mean it's yours, and it doesn't mean it has to be yours. Like, I'm not going to say you have to have the same opinion as me just because I prefer this game over the other. If you prefer one for the cameos, for the characters, for the graphics alone, that's fair. I get that. The graphics are amazing in that game. If you prefer 11 for the mix of variations that are kind of there, and then you have it with the newer graphics, I get it. It's cool. But MKX does hold a special place in my heart, not only for the nostalgia. I want to say that. It's not just nostalgia playing a factor. It's also just so many things about that game. The addition of the newer characters that came out with that game that are really cool. There's just the smooth gameplay. And there's also just so much to that game that makes me happy. Like, the crypt is really cool to me. And I think it's just overall a satisfying game that deserves to still be played. I don't think that people who like Mortal Kombat should stick with only the newest games. I think if you would like a nice Mortal Kombat game to play, and maybe you're just tired of one, try X. It's just such a good game. At least I feel it is. And I hope that other people agree, because it would suck if I'm the only one, but I doubt that, because X is such a strong game. But for the most part, that really is all that I feel like I can say about this topic. Not that I can't say other things, I just like can't really think of anything right now. But maybe in the future, when I try the stories of all games, maybe I'll do a follow-up and give you my opinion on which has the best story. But in the meantime, this is it for the Mortal Kombat video. Maybe in the future I'd do some gameplay, but I'm not sure. If anything, it might just be me playing through the story. So, yeah, that's only if people want it, though, because I'm not, like, super keen on playing it on the channel. I might just play it in my free time. But if people do see this and they do say they want to see it, then sure, I'll go ahead and do that. But in the meantime, it has been fun ranting about Mortal Kombat and how it has its own significance on me, specifically Mortal Kombat X, but the other ones are good too. So yeah, in the meantime, I'm happy you guys stayed and watched, if you did, and I appreciate it. So in the next one, I will see you. Or, no, I'll see you. I better. Anyways.